Roe v. Wade is dead, and it's an amazing time to be alive. Congratulations, everybody. You know, for a long time, did anybody really think this was ever going to happen? It has happened. It's fantastic. We have a lot of people to thank. Number one, first, the Supreme Court, those 6 justices who ruled with such wisdom and expertise. I'd like to thank each of them individually, starting with the most senior. Justice Clarence Thomas, thank you. Thank you, sir. Talk about a guy who's been through a lot. Justice Thomas, thank you. Next, Justice Samuel Alito. Look at these guys. They will go down in history forever. Thank you, Justice Alito. Thank you. Next, it is Justice Gorsuch. Thank you, sir, very, very much. Wow. This will be probably the first paragraph in his obituary. Next, hopefully that's decades from now, Justice Kavanaugh. Oh, talk about somebody who's been through a lot. Thank you, Justice Kavanaugh. Thank you. And Justice Amy Coney Barrett. You did it. You did it. And it's an amazing thing. There are many more people to thank, actually. This Dobbs versus that clinic down in Jackson, Mississippi. We have to thank Governor Phil Bryant, former Governor Phil Bryant of Mississippi, who was so instrumental in getting this thing underway. And also a very sharp guy named Tate Reeves. He is the present sitting governor of Mississippi. He's also been a prime mover here. You know, folks hear the accent and say, oh, no, no, no. This is one of the best people in America right now, I think. He's so smart, and they write him off because of the accent, which is so unfair and not nice and really stupid, but he's great.
I believe in a simple reading of the United States Constitution that when Roe was decided in 1973, there is no fundamental right in our United States Constitution to an abortion. And furthermore, Chuck, I believe very strongly that if you read the Constitution, there is nowhere in the Constitution that prohibits individual states like Mississippi, to limit access to abortion.
I am trying very hard to make sure that everyone in America knows that the overturning of Roe certainly puts the decision-making on abortion policy back in the elected representatives in each of the 50 states. That, by the way, is where the decision-making was in America for the first 200 years of our country until 1972, and in my opinion, Roe was wrongly decided.
Yeah, the lost souls who are so pro-abortion, they can take some solace, I suppose, in the actual ruling. The governor is right. Let's go to it, please. This is from Samuel Alito. Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. A lot of liberals actually believe that, too. Its reasoning was exceptionally weak, and the decision has had damaging consequences. But here, it is time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives. I think that is totally, totally reasonable. I know there's going to be potentially riots, and I don't want that to happen. More people to thank, though, and we have to go way back. Justice Thomas was nominated by George H.W. Bush. He wasn't the most conservative guy, but he selected very well. I also have my beef with George W. Bush about a lot of things, but he nominated 2 of the justices who voted the right way today, Samuel Alito and Chief Justice John Roberts. Mr. President, thank you. But most of all, President Trump. Can you imagine this? 3 Supreme Court nominees during one term? That is, I don't think that's ever happened before. 2 terms. Sometimes they don't even get to nominate anybody. It's tremendous. Let's go through it. First was Gorsuch. It was, you could feel things were changing. It was more than just one appointment. It was the beginning of a seismic change. Then we had Justice Kavanaugh. Boy, it was brutal, but totally, totally worth it. At least for us, I hope for him. And Amy Coney Barrett. You know, I knew Donald Trump was different. We all did the moment he came down that escalator. But he started saying things of substance very early on that just separated him from not only the other candidates, but any other figure in history. to point out the justices or judges he wanted to appoint to the bench before he actually won the nomination, he did that. He said, these are the kinds of people I'm looking at. These are the ones. No one did that. No one would do that. Also, once he became president, things like going to the pro-life rally. Now, there's a big pro-life rally every year just a block from the White House. And guess what? Republican presidents don't go. Let's see. They usually phone it in, literally. You got George W. Bush on the phone. He can't be seen there. He doesn't want to get too close to this right to life thing because, well, you know, he wants to make sure everybody likes him and he just doesn't want to get too close. The same for George H.W. Bush. He just literally phoned it in, said hello to everybody. However, Donald Trump is not just like every president, is he?
It is my profound honor to be the first president in history to attend the March for Life. We're here for a very simple reason, to defend the right of every child, born and unborn, to fulfill their God-given potential.
How beautiful, how amazing, and he does it in person, right? More on President Trump in a moment. We have other people to thank. Actually, Mitch McConnell. I know, swamp guy, can't trust him most of the time, but he did some amazing things. Remember Merrick Garland? He's now the Attorney General. They wanted him for the Supreme Court, but Mitch worked his parliamentary magic and didn't let it happen.
The next justice could fundamentally alter the direction of the Supreme Court and have a profound impact on our country. So, of course, the American people should have a say in the court's direction. The Senate will appropriately revisit the matter when it considers the qualifications of the nominee the next president nominates, whoever that might be.
And it turned out to be Trump with 3 conservative nominees. That was brilliant. Well done. And also getting Amy Coney Barrett in. I mean, she was nominated, I believe, in September and confirmed in October. That doesn't happen. That's amazing parliamentarian skills, whatever it is. Mitch did it. And that was a beautiful moment when Amy Coney Barrett was sworn in at the White House. And again, I am thrilled. I am thrilled. Thrilled for them, thrilled for us. Hey, by the way, other groups need to be acknowledged, not just individuals, but groups. These committees, I'm told, by those who really have been working in this movement, National Right to Life, they have done so much. Americans United for Life, and the Susan B. Anthony list. They've done much for election laws and getting the right candidates at the state level. This has been, so many people have been involved in this. Now, there are some people tonight who are absolutely devastated. I don't know, what do we say? Thoughts and prayers? Some of them are taking it really, really hard.
All the human rights are going to start falling down. All right, LGBTQ plus community, we're next on the chopping block.
I am sick. How do I look at my daughters and tell them that they're growing up in an amazing place when they're not?
Okay, well, it's going to be a summer of protesting.
I think that if you can leave the country, you should. I think if you're of childbearing age and you can leave the country, you should.
Well, okay, a couple of things. Some of those we're talking about some of these people, the LGBTQ community. Isn't this more of a heterosexual issue in a way? I mean, the LGBTQ plus IA community is taking it really, really hard. But overall, I think this might be an opportunity for a rebirth of this country. Now, I arranged this very simple graph, all right? This is my view of things in America for the most part. American progress. We peaked right about 1973, and there have been some ups and downs along the way, but our culture has been in decline for about 50 years. And I have some data to back this up. Take a look. The marriage rate, compare the marriage rate in 1960, 72%. Now it's just 50%. Marriage is good for people. It really, really is. Now look at this. For white individuals, white adults, in 1960 it was 74%, now 57%. And for all the stuff about Black Lives Matter, I wish America was talking about this. Take a look at these figures. Black adults, 1960, 61%. Today, 33%. This has had devastating effects on our culture. And it's everywhere, all the time. And a country that will allow unborn babies to be killed isn't much of a country. And you can see it all around us. I mean, 50, 60 years ago, this is what falling in love was, right? I mean, it was innocent. Was it corny? I guess. Where are we now, though? Is this good for anybody? The hookup culture, order it up on your phone and everyone's down to get down in 10 minutes. That has devastating consequences on folks. It really, really does. How about 50 years ago or so, 1960s to 75, if you wanted to see pornography, if you had to go to the sketchy part of town, which took some guts, basically only a certain type of man was going to do that. Now pornography is everywhere all the time for anybody of any age. I think that's bad, and it's interesting to me that it kind of coincides with this fascination and the pushing of abortion at any time. Some other things we're not doing. I mean, we still haven't gone back to the moon. You realize the last time we were back on the moon was in 1972, just before Roe v. Wade passed? Isn't that is there a connection there? I know not really, but overall I have felt a malaise in America for a good chunk of my life. And I think we're poised for a great big change, okay? And we have, again, to thank more than any one person, Donald Trump. And it's so amazing. Here he is, back in the 1970s, a playboy. I mean, let's face it, and a successful businessman, but a real character and, very garish and all that stuff. Look, I like this style. I like his style. Not everybody does. And the casino business and all that stuff. And I know it turned some people off. Let's face it, Donald Trump has been a bit of a ladies' man and quite the character. But God can do anything through anyone. We have free will, but God has it all worked out, of course. And this is all because of him. President Trump put out a beautiful statement, and I think he's claiming credit, of course, and he deserves credit. He writes, today's decision, this is the biggest win for life in a generation, along with other decisions that have been announced recently, were only made possible because I delivered everything as promised, including nominating and getting 3 highly respected and strong constitutionalists confirmed to the United States Supreme Court. It was my great honor to do so. I did not cave to the radical left, to the Democrats, their partners in the fake news media, or the rhinos who are likewise our true but silent enemy of the people. These major victories prove that even though the radical left is doing everything in their power to destroy our country, your rights are being protected, the country is being defended, and there is still hope and time to save America. I will never stop fighting for the great people of our nation. Donald J. Trump. Congratulations to him, and congratulations to America. When we come back, it could be a tough, long night out there. We're going to go to the Supreme Court. Lots of folks have turned out, both for and against this decision. We'll see what the latest is. Stay with us.